Hi everyone, welcome to entrepreneurship. I've got in the house Christian, Cody, Connor, and Ethan. So we've got the triple C. Hi Ethan, welcome. Okay guys, I'm gonna jump straight into it. This is our second live session. For those of you who do not know how this class works, is this. And maybe let me start there. I have and actually I didn't give you guys the link to the actual playlist, but what I have been doing is that in your module or on your module, if you look at your announcements, in your announcements, I have been sending you guys links of the different learning units that get covered. So how these work is that they are recordings of the learning units. So if you want to know about maybe the concepts that we are talking about, then you need to read or listen to this. Because what I then do in our class sessions is that I would rather than discuss the work. So for instance, you will see here in my PowerPoint slides, yes, I've got learning unit 1, 2, and 3 open, and that's just for us to quickly peruse it. But more than anything, I like to focus on the ICE activities. So because the first session we did learning unit 1, this will just be for reflection. However, then ICE activity 2 and ICE activity 3 would then be up for discussion, especially because they are due to be submitted soon. And then also what I did was I downloaded some ICE activities that you guys submitted. So here I've got 1, 2, 3 ICE tasks that you guys submitted yourselves that I would then want to go through, check how the quality of the submission, the quality of the answers, even the quality of the document, because these are all things, that I address in our classes. So does everyone understand exactly how I run my classes? Is there any questions with regards to anything I just discussed right now? And please feel free to unmute yourself and speak. It works better that way, actually. Okay, if there are no questions, because it doesn't sound like it, I will continue. Let's see. No questions. All right. Okay, cool, guys. So let's start. So you guys will remember this in the first learning unit that we touched. It's all about entrepreneurship, and it's just giving you the general concept of what to expect. And that includes things like defining the entrepreneurship, and distinguishing between entrepreneurship and a small business. And in fact, what I then did was I changed this to an entrepreneurial venture versus a small business. And we all know that difference. Guys, please make sure that you know it. The difference is that we can both start with a KFC, but if, let's say, for instance, I get comfortable with my one KFC and with your KFC branch, you feel like, you know what, I love this, I'm making a lot of money, let me go and get another one. That would be the difference between an entrepreneurial venture versus a small business. Because with a small business, you become complacent and you start to relax and say, thanks, you know what I'm getting is good enough. Whereas with entrepreneurship, the element of growth never ceases to exist. Mark Zuckerberg, my favorite entrepreneur, simply on paper, not as a person. I don't particularly know the guy. I don't know what he stands for. All I know is that he stole Facebook and he really did do a good job. After stealing it, simply because, he was entrepreneurial about it. He did not stop at Facebook. Even Facebook itself, continues to evolve as a product. He improves this and that and that and that. I mean, if you judge 10 Facebook by 10 years ago versus now, a completely different product, you know, much more integrated and dynamic in these days. So yeah, please make sure that you know those. And then you will see that every time there's like a star or somewhere on the learning outcomes, those are normally the ones I give you guys as hints, because I've seen that they normally like to ask them in assignments. So you can focus on those a little bit more. And then the different types of entrepreneurial business, and then as well as corporate entrepreneurship. And then the key success factors of entrepreneurs. What are those things that make entrepreneurs what they are versus another normal person? And then explain how entrepreneurs should deal with external factors that affect their business. And as a matter of fact, this learning outcome 6 is actually chapter 2, and what we are going to discuss in this learning unit 2. So this learning unit 2, you should have gone through the recording, and you therefore know what it is about. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to focus mostly on these 2 slides where I just cover the themes. So in this learning outcome, or this learning unit 2, the learning outcomes are: examine the relationship between a business and an establishment. And then you would have to describe the different sectors in which a business operates. Please, guys, this is always being asked in tests and assignments, or assignments rather, and summatives. So do make sure that you know it. And then the rest of the chapter, which is the business environment. Whatever you do, please make sure that you know this, because it's not only important in this module, but you will see it also coming up in other modules as well. I think if you do BMNG, you've already either touched on it maybe in the first semester, or that you will do so in this semester. So, and that's not the only module where you will see it, because every business must survive in its environment. And if you think about it, you guys are commerce students, right? Which means that you work in businesses, and not only working in businesses, but working in business for the sake and for the purpose of making money, right? So if you're a business that's trying to make money, you have to survive the environment. For instance, in South Africa, we used to have load shedding. And in fact, like right now, it's like a looming question: what's happening with load shedding? What happened? You know, what's the conspiracy? Because now it's so silent. So, you know, that's something that you would have to deal with in the South African environment. Hence, knowing and surviving in your environment as a business is so important. All right, so I'm not going to go through learning outcome 1. What I will jump to is learning outcome 2, where we describe the different sectors in which a business operates. This is primary, secondary, or tertiary sector. In short, primary is the mealie, right? Secondary is the factory that makes the pap. Tertiary is Pick n Pay that sells you the pap. Okay, so always I like to fix my mistakes when I see them. Tertiary, yes. Jewelry. Clearly, I don't know how to spell jewelry. Okay. So please make sure that you know that. And remember, for any business, for instance, if I say to you, checkers, you need to say, is it tertiary? Is it secondary? Is it primary? If I say a mine, is it primary, secondary, or tertiary? And then describe the 3 components of the business environment. And this is the rest of the chapter. The business environment is the sum of all the factors and variables that influence the creation, growth, and continued existence of the business, either positively or negatively. So these things, they depend on what they determine whether you as a business are going to grow, and are you going to continue to exist, right? And this is either positively or negatively. So it could be a good thing that happens to you, but it can also be a bad thing. So therefore, promoting and hindering the achievement of your objectives. That's the business environment. And the business environment is divided into 3 sectors. Please make sure that you know these: micro environment, the market environment, and the macro. So the thing about the micro environment is that it's the business itself. It's you, it's your business, you are inside of you, right? Then you've got the market environment. The market environment, and actually with the micro environment, they normally say that you can control yourself, because that environment, you've got full control over that environment. Because if you think about it, as your own business, you decide when you open your doors and when you close. Whereas with the market environment, it is the one that it's not exactly you, and it does affect you, and you've got a little bit of control over it. And then the macro environment, and you can see if this is the circle of your business, you don't touch the macro or the macro environment at all, which means you do not have control over it, but it affects you. So the macro environment, this is the actual environment in which you live. For instance, if you're in South Africa, you face things such as heat in the summer and cold in the winter, rain in the summer and maybe no rain in the winter, unless if you live in Cape Town. Load shedding, like I said. So these are the things that happen to you that you have no say in. The price of things, you've got no say in what prices you pay for electricity or anything that you use for your business. So yeah. And now in terms of discussing it, please make sure, and this is also in your ICE activity. Your ICE activity is, as a matter of fact, the business environment. Okay, so when you discuss the micro environment, or in fact, let me say, when you discuss the business environment, guys, and you're asked to discuss maybe the micro environment, the market, let's say you're asked to discuss the micro environment. Let's go to the market micro environment, right? The micro environment incorporates the mission statement and objectives of the business, the functions of the business, right? And the product factors. That's three things that we discuss. And if they are the subheadings, please make sure that you explain all the subheadings, because what they normally say is, for instance, in tests and exams, they will say which ones, and they normally like saying that, especially with the macro. With the macro environment, they will normally say things like which elements or components of the macro environment affect business A, B, and C. Guys, it's all of them. It's never just one or two. So what then students do is they will choose the two that they think will work for them. They write out the answer and then they submit. And you will not get full marks for that, because it's usually all of them, guys. The market controls you, whether you like it or not, the macro environment. So if there's a war going on in the country, you will feel it. It's not something that you selected, but you will feel it, you will know it. So hence you cannot control it. Hence it belongs in the macro environment. So the market environment, we said it's three components. It's the market, the competition, and the suppliers. And then the macro environment then is the economic, social, political, technology, statutory, physical, and international laws. So all of these, they do affect your business. Please, if they ask you to discuss the macro environment, for instance, you discuss all of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is it 7 here? 2, 4, 6, 7. And then on top of that, remember, you will use the Lear method that I've taught you guys in answering questions. So you will list it, right? And then you will say, what is economic? Economic is things like inflation, price of things. You will explain it in a proper way, of course. And then after you explain what it is, then you have to provide an example of what you are talking about, right? So the interest rate, for instance, things like inflation and interest rate, you will say that the interest rate has remained the same in South Africa for the past 2 terms or something like that, you see. So you always have to provide an example. And then for those that want A's, you would just go ahead and provide a further example or elaborate further on what you mean. So that's it for this chapter, or for this learning unit. Let us go to learning unit 3, and then we will go to the ICE activities. So learning unit 3, if learning unit 2 was you know, as a business, and think about it this way, you guys are going to do a module called strategic management. And in strategic management, the concept of the SWOT analysis, which is similar to what you do when you do the business environment, which we have just touched on in learning unit 2. You survive your environment. And I would like to put it this way. Think about the fact that if you look at your book, right, the textbook, your prescribed textbook, chapter 1 is an introduction of entrepreneurship, right? And chapter 2 is basically kind of the most important thing you need to consider as a business, and that's your environment. Before you even go anywhere and start making a profit and even opening a business, there exists an environment within which your business is going to have to survive. So it is of your best interest that you understand what is going on in your market. Okay. Then chapter 3 which is learning unit 3, is all about identifying and developing business ideas. So we're kind of like starting from the beginning, if that makes sense. Chapter 1 was an overview of entrepreneurship. Chapter 2 was the environment within which you need to survive. So now when you think about your ideas, they kind of have to be embedded in your environment. Does that make sense? Hence the cognizance thereof in the back of your mind needs to be there for the business environment. So with with regards to the identification and development of business ideas, the learning outcomes include what stages should be applied in setting up a business, explain the process of cultivating a creative attitude. And I've seen actually this the question being asked before, so maybe let me put a star on it as well. Right. And then discuss the process of generating business ideas. And this one, always there, always in tests, assignments, you'll already see you've got your assignment, which has already been released. It is already there, a question. My as activity is all about this question as well. So please make sure that you do know it, and then describe the development and evaluation of business ideas. Guys, the reason why learning outcome 3 is so important is because you as an entrepreneur will always have entrepreneurial ideas. If all you have is one business idea in your life, then, sir, madam, I would like to posit that you are not an entrepreneur. Because as an entrepreneur, you are aware of the fact that there are always opportunities in the market. And all you need to do is to recognize these opportunities, right? But before they are opportunities, in fact, they start out as ideas. An opportunity is just an idea that you have discovered can make you money. Okay, whereas an idea is just exactly that. It's a good idea, a good thought of what you can start as a business, but it is unrefined in its state. So I'm going to jump to that learning outcome 3. The process of generating a business idea. So what this basically says is that there are 5 ways in which you can generate business ideas, right? Number 1, I can start my business idea with my skills, my expertise, and my aptitude. For instance, I went to fashion school. That means then I can start my fashion business because I have the skills, I have the expertise, and the aptitude. I'm starting a business because my skills can start that. So the example of my business would be a fashion school business or a fashion design company or small boutique or whatever, because I've got the skill of designing. Then common needs is everybody has a common need. What do people do? Number 1, they need food. Everybody needs food. So you could say, you know what, because everybody needs food, I'm gonna I generated an idea of a restaurant or a supermarket or whatever food related thing because everybody has that common need. What other common needs do we all have? Food, clothing, shelter. Another one could be Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Go and look at those Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and that's where your common needs ideas can come from. So another common need for me would be things like food, clothing. Food would be a restaurant. Clothing would be a boutique, and then food, clothing, and shelter. Shelter could be cost-effective housing or something like that. Yes. And then problems. What problems do people normally have? If anybody can give us an example of problems that people normally have, then we can generate a business idea from that. And then everyday activities. I go to the gym every day, so a gym is definitely an everyday activity. Some people play other sports, other people walk. So if, let's say, for instance, yeah, you see people walking and running on the streets every day, that's an everyday activity, right? So yeah, I hope you get this, get the pun. So anyway, yeah, as an everyday activity, I then start a sneaker range, a walking shoe range, and then other sources. So please, yeah, check out your textbook for what they say are those other sources. And that's it for these learning outcomes and what I am basically going to check. Then for the rest of this chapter, it's learning outcome 4, the development and evaluation of your business ideas. As a matter of fact, your ICE activity is based on learning outcome 4. Okay, so please make sure that you understand it as well. So maybe let me also go through it, simply because it's your ICE activity. So they say that only one of the ideas that you have come up with. So remember when we did idea generation, the point of this is that you as an entrepreneur can come up with so many business ideas, and yeah, it's a possible thing. And if you can't come up with ideas, guys, no, I'm sorry, you're not an entrepreneur. If all you have is one business idea and you're stuck on it, and it's all in your head and you probably haven't even implemented it, my peeps. And anyway, we said that entrepreneurial ventures are the ones that continue to grow. So if all you have is that one business as well, and you're not seeing how is it that I can grow from this, again, it's not an entrepreneurial venture, but a small business. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Just according to the classification of what makes an entrepreneur, it's that element of growth, that element of constant innovation. Without those two, you're not being entrepreneurial in your mindset. So only one of the ideas that you have come up with now can be chosen and converted into a business on its own. So in other words, you've come up with business ideas. Obviously, you're not going to start 10 businesses all at the same time. You're now going to select one, right? Or in combination with one of more of the other ideas. So in other words, maybe you select one or two more, right? To choose the correct business idea, the potential entrepreneur must evaluate each idea on the list. So that means you've got your 3 ideas, you must evaluate all 3 of those ideas. Because now what you're trying to determine is, out of these 3 ideas, which one is actually the best one? That's what this learning outcome covers. So business ideas can be evaluated primarily by means of 2 methods, namely a feasibility study and a viability study. Right? With a feasibility study, it's a general examination, but a viability study is more in depth, where you can even determine the profitability of your business idea. Right? So to determine whether the business is feasible, the entrepreneur must be able to answer the following questions, right? And this question you would ask for every idea. Do you want to do what the idea suggests? So if the idea says start a restaurant, do you really want to start a restaurant? Because sometimes it's easy to come up with an idea, but is it something that you would really want to do? I, for instance, love to pursue ideas that follow my passions. So if cooking is not in my passion, maybe it wouldn't be a good idea for me to start a restaurant. Right? Is there a market for your idea? In other words, are there people that want to buy your product? Can you meet the needs of your customers? And can you advertise the idea to your customers? If all you get is your answers yes, then you do that. So with what then you need to do is, for every question, right? Do you want to do what the idea suggests? You have to answer all of these questions, right? Is the idea really something you want to pursue? Do you want to do da 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 da? Then is there a market for your idea? For that, you have to answer these questions. And then can you meet the needs of your customers? For that, you have to answer these questions. And again, these questions you answer for every idea, guys. So you will go through this process of answering these 1, 2, 3, 4 slides 4 times, if that 3 times, if that's if you come up with 3 business ideas, right? After you have asked yourself that, you go to stage 2. In stage 2, then how do you feel about your business idea now that you have answered all the questions? Complete the rating scale. Now, because you've thought about all those 3 ideas, then now you ask yourself again, and this you're going to do 3 times, right? Do you want to follow the idea? right? After you file of ask those questions, high, very high, average or low. Is there a market for your idea? And it will be based on the scoring that you get from there. So please check your textbook for how it is exactly that you're supposed to complete this. They say that you need to circle the number that represents your choice. Is there a market for your idea? Can you meet the needs of your customers? And can you advertise your ideas properly? And then by continuing the numbers, counting the numbers circled, you can reach the following conclusions. So depending on which idea or how much marks you get for your idea, you need to, you want to score maybe, let's say, a 12, less than, just maybe then a little bit less than 12. Whichever idea gets the most marks will be the one. So that would be what is required of your ICE activity for learning unit, for ICE unit 3. And then let me just quickly go through the ICE units. Or again, ICE units, ICE activities. ICE activity 1, I will just go through it because, you know, we didn't really discuss learning unit 1 like I wanted to, because the first session ended up being more introductory rather than content related. Okay, so ICE activity 1, which was due on the 5th, right? I think. Okay, anyway, you needed to distinguish between entrepreneurship and a small business, and as a matter of fact, we said the entrepreneurial, between an entrepreneurial business venture and a small business, and then in your answer expound on the following. So you just define what's an entrepreneurial venture, what is a small business, and then you provide examples and then commonalities and differences. So we'll go through these when we go through the examples of the ICE activities that we will be going through today. And then learning unit 2, and these are the ones that will now be due soon, because learning unit 2 and 3 are what actually was on the roster for today. So in learning unit 2, it's again the business environment. I have stressed the importance of the business environment. It's got 3 components: the micro, market, and the macro environment. And then the micro environment, it's the business itself. It includes the mission statement, functions of the business, the production factors. The market environment includes the market competition and suppliers, and then the macro environment includes all of those. So now you will have to discuss, if they say choose an entrepreneurial venture, right? And then use the Lear method to discuss how each component of the business environment affects the business. So please provide real world examples. So then you will discuss the micro environment, the market, and the macro. So, and I said, as I explained to you guys, if you discuss the micro environment, please explain what it is in general, but also go into these 3 and explain these 3 elements of it. So also when you talk about, for instance, the macro environment, obviously you're gonna explain it. The macro environment surrounds the market environment and the business, and then you're gonna explain each of the sub-environments because they affect the business in different ways. Technology affects business in a different way versus prices of things, right? So yeah, please, 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 guys, make sure that you know this. And then, yeah, that's it for that ICE activity. And then ICE activity 3. For ICE activity 3, the process of generating business ideas. There are techniques, right? In your search for ideas, you can make use of certain structured techniques, and these are the ideas, right? And then learning unit 4, they just I'm just showing you guys what I'm doing, like a recourse of what we were supposed to do. Then this what? Oh, this is not supposed to be here. Delete. Yeah, and delete. Hare, my peeps. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, after feasibility. Then the question is, considering the information provided above, and those are all the slides I just went through, generate 3 business ideas using 3 techniques for the generation of business ideas, and then determine the feasibility of each. And then according to the feasibility study you have conducted, which idea is the most feasible, and it will be that calculation of those marks. Okay, and then when you generate your business ideas, you will say what common needs, and you will say what it is. Okay, and then yeah, that's it for the learning units. Then last but not least, which is this is the most important part of this class for me, and it's going to be my favorite activity. Yeah, man, because this is, yeah, feedback I think is important. So you will see, like with your ICE activities and the rubrics that I normally provide, guys, for everything that I do, I use the Lear method. It's a method that I created. However, in creation of that method, it really helps you to answer questions, theory questions properly. I guarantee that you will get a distinction if you answer questions in this way, because what you have then done is provided a comprehensive view of your answers. Okay, and this would be good enough for even up to third year. By the time you get to, to fourth year, you would then have to do things such as comparisons, analysis, etc. Those are not required for NQF level 5, 6, and 7. This module is pitched at an NQF level 5, so not much is required. Hence, this is comprehensive and good for you to use when you're answering your questions. And how you do that is that you list your theory. So for instance, with the macroeconomic environment that we just touched, it will be those 6 or those 7 things: the economy, technology, physical environment, etc., etc. Then you would explain each and every single one, provide an example again for each and every single one, and then provide an additional resource. And this could be another example, another definition by another author, a real world experience. Maybe if, this was here, we were talking about checkers, you will say, the same thing happens, but this time it happened for Facebook, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? All you are exhibiting is that you know what you are talking about. And that's what an assignment is. An assignment is you showing that you know what you're talking about. Hence, the write you more, the more you write, the better. The write you more, the more you write, the better. Yeah, that's it for learning unit 2. Oh, no, I wasn't touching on learning unit 2. Oh, I was here. So let's look at this. We've got what, about 20 minutes left. Let's look at this ICE activity. Guys, I don't know if you guys have any questions. I'm not hearing anything in the chat. Do we have a start date? Is there a WhatsApp group? We haven't got a WhatsApp group yet, Cody, but we can create it. If you don't mind creating a group and you send a link here, I wouldn't mind. Then I can share it with everyone and then they can join the group. Do we have a due date for ICE Task 2 yet? Yes, Connor, you do. If I'm not mistaken, let's check. Oh yeah, we've already got this open. More resources, ICE activities. Yeah, I've already uploaded ICE activity 2 and 3. So yes, you do have a date for them. All right, Christian, I hear you. I hear you. Okay, so the interesting part for me is this. This is an ICE task that was submitted on ICE task 1, right? So let's do a quick recap of what was required of you. This is the one where you had to provide a definition for entrepreneur, So let's see how the person did. So the first thing I like, do I or don't I? The first thing maybe that I don't like about this is that I would have made it bold, So I would have definitely, okay, and I would have had maybe, let me do this. I would have like a cover page, right? And then I will have a table of contents. All right. And then I don't see, there's no page numbers. So I would pick things like page numbers, right? And then maybe an intro if I'm taking this too serious, but an intro maybe not necessarily because it's just an activity. So let's skip the intro, right? Okay. And then font, let's say font variation. So in other words, the size, bold, stuff like that. yeah, I would have made ICE activity entrepreneurship a cover page, and then question one would be on another page, and that's maybe something else that we can say. Start a new question, and I think I covered this in the first question on a new page in the first session. So question one, entrepreneurship is the process of establishing a business from the identification of This is a good example. Entrepreneurship is therefore acknowledged as a discipline of its own. So this is good. The only problem is there's no reference. Okay, so you would be in text reference. So there's no reference for this. And then entrepreneurship is an entrepreneur is a person that can identify an opportunity or an idea through innovation, planning, and use of recourses. Recourses can start a business, manage it, and grow it. All right, Shapo, we see where you're going. A small business in the National Small Enterprises Act. So see, like this is not how you spell the the Act of 102 of what. This is definitely not how you spell it. So please make sure that you spell it properly, because you're also going to have to reference it, right? As well as the national business. All of these, you will have to correctly reference these. So right now your referencing is just bad, as well as then your formatting. And I'm just maybe picking up on what's bad more than I am on what's good. Avoid bullet points. That's what I would say as well, because this is an assignment we're trying to write, not list things. So question two, Elon Musk, yeah, a small business, a micro is a business that usually manages an entrepreneurship. Yeah, you see, like what, for me, it's like, what makes you put something in a bullet? What makes you put something in a sentence? It doesn't make sense. And you are using central, what is that thing? I'm going to tell you now. This center alignment. Please use justification, okay? So if we go back here, justify. Your alignment, okay? And then question two, I think you were supposed to provide an example. So yes, these references, I would say they are good, okay, they're all right, you just don't have references there. And then with regards to your examples, Elon Musk, okay, a very good example, I agree with that. As a visionary, he uses real life opportunities. He not only manages those business, but continuously aims and strives to innovate. But you see, you're not giving us examples, and maybe that's what you're gonna do in the next one, right? But I asked for examples actually, so you should have given it here. How does he innovate? How does he discover new? It's easy to say that somebody is innovative, but how? So give us proper examples, all right? And then Jessica Jackley, the entrepreneur who helped co-found the small business Kiva, a platform that uses data. So this is good examples. And what's good about this is that you did at least try to explain, all right, why you selected those people. And then question three, yeah, please, those bullet points are not working. Problem solving skills. Both require, and so the commonalities and the differences, problem solving skills and adaptability, and then growth and risk. And I like the fact that you also explained. However, in here we don't have references, right? And it's the same as in, yeah, like question two. And yeah, basically, yeah, references are just bad. So you would actually be in contravention of the referencing, what is it, intellectual property policy, intellectual integrity policy. All right, so then with regards to your referencing, and this, I don't know why you say references for, so I wouldn't have references for, it's just basically a reference list. Okay, that's the heading. And put your headings maybe here. I wouldn't centralize. Like you centralized everything. It doesn't make sense why you put everything in the center. Okay. Niva Hasten, sure. And if I'm being picky, and let's do that. Between C and 2024, there's no space, and there's supposed to be a space there between the year, and then there's also supposed to be a space here, and then entrepreneurship and African perspective is supposed to be in italics, which is not in here. Second edition, Cape Town, Judah, and Company LPT. You got PTY Ltd. And then Stephen McGuene, Edward Reed. Yeah, this is, you see, this is not supposed to be there. It's just supposed to be the surnames, and it's supposed to be and McGuire and Reed. In 2019, this is supposed to be a circle. Sorry, a full stop, not a comma. And then, yeah, Elon Musk, what. Review online available at, and this is an article that you accessed. Cool, but there's supposed to be a space here. Access, there's supposed to be capital A, and it's supposed to say online, not article, just online, and online is supposed to be a capital O. Yeah, accessed. So please make sure that this is just altogether incorrect. So if we look at this, these are major referencing errors, okay? So you do need to consult the and normally major referencing errors you would get minus 10% for. So please beware of this. Even this check, this is just altogether wrong. So please consult the referencing thing. Guys, I actually developed a referencing a tool, an interactive video tool that teaches you how to reference. If you've got like an hour and you really want to learn, it will teach you one time. An hour sounds like a lot, but if you think that after that hour, I would have actually, I would know fully how to reference, it is quite worth it. Okay, and then just delete a page, like there's no need to have a page that's empty if we're done with the assignment. So yeah, obviously you get your full marks, but these are just the things that are wrong with your assignment or your submission. And then here again, problem is that, let me insert text boxes for this one. So my problem here is that you don't have a cover page, and maybe let's make this red. Right? You don't have a cover page, no table of contents. And maybe I'll skip the ones that we already know now. So, what is it? Formatting. Okay. What else do I see here? All right. Page numbers, we've already said in the other one as well. Can I not edit this once I'm done? Yeah, so there's, and then the difference between definition of an entrepreneurial venture. What I like about this is that it's clean. I love the fact that you put, if you put things in bold, remember in this previous one, we had said, just put some things in bold, even if it's the headings, you can see a difference. Like for instance, making entrepreneurship bold would have helped, so that's what this person did. That's right. Equals. Now, equals is definitely a red flag. Please do not use equals, okay? And this is not how you in-text reference. You're not supposed to have the first surname, the name. All you're supposed to have is the name and the year, okay? Posits that this. So I would say, please go and consult the IIE Harvard reference guide, guys. Because it's the second semester, everybody, for instance, this student, right? Because of these major references, I would have had to flag them for plagiarism, which means that you go to the plagiarism officer and you can get a level 2-1 or a level 2 plagiarism warning. Guys, please, it's a very serious thing. Referencing is you basically saying, this is where I got my answers. These are the original authors of this. It's like if you sing a song, you have to reference the person whose song you're singing. Otherwise, you are stealing that song. Hence, with this, you have to say, who did you get these answers from? This the inspiration for your answers from, because whoever wrote that, and remember, you would write it in your own words. Whoever wrote that, this is my credit to them, and I have adapted what they have said in my own way, and this is what I say about that. Okay, so posit that this is when a new company, so that you would just basically say, and an Nevenhazen posits that, so you would just say Nevenhazen 2015 posits that an entrepreneurial venture is when a new company or business is founded with the aim of making the most possible profit, blah, 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 blah. So this is a good sentence. The small business, same Cecile, so the same issues, I don't have to highlight them again, posits that this is a privately owned company with fewer than 100 employees, around blah, blah, blah. This is not what I was really, really looking for, because an entrepreneurial venture, and maybe let's do that in your textbook. No, I don't have time to do that. Maybe if in the end I have time to do it, we can check it. But guys, the difference between a small business and an entrepreneurial venture is not about the numbers. Because if you're saying a privately owned company has 100 employees, then how many employees does an entrepreneurial venture have? You see, that's not the difference. The difference is the fact that they all start the same, but an entrepreneurial venture continues to grow when a small business stops growing. Okay, so if Facebook had only started Facebook and stopped at Facebook, we would just say it's an entrepreneurial venture, but it eventually would become a small business. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. So this is not altogether 100%, but you will find that in an assignment or a test, especially in exams, because come exam time, I'm too nice. I don't know why. I think it's because students by that time are failing. I will give you marks for this, but it really is not really that correct. Okay. Yeah, when an entrepreneur becomes comfortable with the amount of growth, I like this. Okay, now this we can use. And please make sure, like, if you're going to have what's this? And why is it not in capital letters? You see this when, because it's a new sentence. And then here, these double, yeah. So please just make sure that you use correct grammar. Grammar and punctuation. Real life examples, a person who manages an existing business, such as Trelidor, okay, without ensuring growth. All right, I agree with that. But this is a business. This is a stolen. Yeah, you got this from Cecile, but it doesn't explain. You're giving an example, so this is not. Yeah, so I can't accept this, for instance, because this is literally in the book. Okay, but you are correct that this business owner is comfortable with the level of growth. So at least I know that you know what it's talking about. And then a real life example of an entrepreneur, 20 years ago, what, Vili and Peter Nerdier. No, yeah, see, like you're literally copying and pasting from the book, from the textbook. This is not what we wanted. What I wanted you to say is a real life example of the small business owner and not one that's in the textbook. Anything except for one that's in the textbook. All right. Yeah. Commonalities and differences. Two examples that entrepreneurship and things have, both involve launching and operating a business. I agree. In order to achieve their financial objectives, both must efficiently manage their resources. Agreed. But what I don't see here are your references. And then your two examples of where the differences are. And I think the same issue that we have here, But yeah, otherwise, altogether, I do see that you know the difference between the two. You know, you do know the difference between the two. It's just that with your examples, you went and got examples from the textbook for which you can't get marks. You're supposed to use real life examples. And I also like the fact that, you know, your numbering system, A, B, you know, bullet points you can try to avoid, you know, because a new paragraph is a new paragraph. So I would here then say, avoid bullet points, use paragraphs instead. I hope that makes sense. So because this is a Word document, I am able to change what I'm trying to, or show you guys what I'm trying to say. So what I would say for this one is, and let me put this up here so I can show you guys what I mean. So do this, rather have real life examples, put it right, justified, right? Sorry, right? And then just do this, enter, enter. Then you don't have to use bullet points. Please do not use bullet points, guys. All right. So that's what you do. You start paragraphs, you see. So even A and B, you don't necessarily have to have an A and B, but you can just start it from the beginning there. And look at this. That means that you're only writing on like almost half the page instead of what about this space? You know what I mean? And then it makes you seem as if you're actually writing a lot, and actually you're not. It's just one or two sentences, but because you've like put it to the side, it's just making you take up space. But yeah, generally happy with this as well, except for those little errors there, or those big errors if they are. And then reference list, okay. What I don't like about this already is that here we've got Aptos, right? Here we've got, okay, still Aptos. Here we've got Times New Roman. Here we've got Times, yeah, so you didn't use the same font. And then if you look at the font that you use is Aptos. So it looks like you used Aptos everywhere, but when it came to the referencing, you used different format referencing styles. So, or formatting, right? So let me do this and show you guys what I'm saying. And please, no, absolutely no bullet points. I feel like you love bullet points. I'm gonna say no bullet points, especially in the reference list. Exclamation mark, please. And let me highlight that. Okay, so these are not supposed to be there. So I'm going to change and make it seem like what it's supposed to look like. Number one, no bullet points. We're going to take it all the way to the right, right? After we've done that, you are using Aptos, so I'm gonna continue and use Aptos and then change that. And then normally with references, you know, normally I like to say people must justify their text, but with a reference, when you justify it, it doesn't normally work out the same. Because look here, when you say available, it's gonna give you the link on the next line, and look there at the at. So I like to write justify references, and you can then see if it's right or if it's wrong. So Cecile, Nivenhays, and Ed, this is already incorrect because this is not how you reference an editor. So please refer to the IIE Harvard Reference Guide, or refer to the academic integrity support tool that I have. 2015 is not supposed to be in a paragraph. That's incorrect. Entrepreneurship, a new and African perspective. I'm going to put that in a green highlighter because it is correct. And the reason why I want to correct it is because it's got what do you call it? Italics. It's in italics, like supposed to be Pretoria Van Skyke Publishers. Then we've got C. Smith, right? Comma Baich dot C and Lubric. All right. No date already. This, I don't know why there's no date. It's a red flag to me, which means this is probably not a good reference. Okay. 4.3 small business, and you see a person who starts their headline with 4.3. Already, I even doubt your writing skills. Small business and entrepreneurship, similarities and differences, da 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 da. Online organizations are available at, and look at this, your link is not even active. And if we check your link, does it even go there? 4.3 small business, yeah. So what I don't like about this is that yes, it's an open library, which is good, but there's no authors. Normally, a good article will have a date, it will have the who, it will say who wrote it here, all the way up here. All right. And yeah, this is just a bad reference altogether. And you had mentioned those people that you had mentioned. I don't see those names that you had said were the authors of this. So yeah, that's, please make sure that you, when you reference, your stuff has to be correct. All right. Accessed on the 2nd of August 2024, which is okay. But yeah, I just have a problem with the fact that there's no date. You need to get a good reference, and a good reference normally has a date. But these, I also think you made these up, so I don't know what's happening there. And then 2024 is not supposed to be in brackets. There's supposed to be a full stop there. Definitions and examples, Investopedia. If you got this at Investopedia, then this is incorrect, because Investopedia is supposed to be italics. Available at, and why is it that you skipped a line? Because it's supposed to be, oh, it's because of the link. All right. So online available at, this is wrong, because it's supposed to say online in brackets and then available at, and then accessed is also, you also used the incorrect brackets for accessed at. Okay. So yeah, this is again major referencing errors. It's, yeah, it's major referencing errors. So it's, yeah, unacceptable basically. Otherwise, good attempt, or a good attempt with, you know, answering the questions. So yeah, guys, we are out of time. I at least went through 2 ICE activities. I just couldn't go through the last one, but we can maybe quickly do that. This one person, yes, you've got a cover page, but where's your table of contents? You know, this should have at least say question 1, and maybe let me insert a text box and just quickly write these things. So table of contents, and then what else did we say? Headings, or let's say question numbering. All right, you didn't number your questions, so it would have been nice if you did. Avoid bullet points. Let's say avoid bullet, right? And then, yeah, I see you've got your in-text referencing here. Nevenhazen's, I don't know why you said Nevenhazen's there. But yeah, just in terms of that, I'm not going to look at your answers. I'm just looking at what it looks like aesthetically, commonalities, differences. Yeah, at least here we can tell, you know, 2 examples, yeah, innovation, growth, whatever. I'm just not sure if these are right. Or these are the examples of where they differ. Okay, I like that. So not only did you explain it, but you also provided examples. That's good. And then the reference list, this one is a little bit better, and it's all in the same font. It's in Times New Roman. My only thing is that I don't understand, why is reference list in Calibri and then your referencing or your references are in Times New Roman? Like this Times Calibri, is this Times New Roman? Okay, so you used Times New Roman. Here you use Calibri. Yeah, you didn't use the same font everywhere. So yeah, this is bad font. So let's say font. Okay, and then yeah, with regards to your referencing, it looks mostly correct. Nevenhazen dot, but this is incorrect. I'm not going to go through this because I am out of time. Ladies and gents, thank you so much for joining me. As much as y'all didn't get to talk, and I don't like normally talking, but yeah, I did enjoy like the productivity that I had today. Any questions, comments, last things before we call it a day? You started a WhatsApp group. Thank you so much. So what's this now? Let's see. Okay, just remove my name maybe, hey? Please just say ENTR5112. Call it semester 2, 2024. Say S2 2024. Please don't. All right. So this link, let me just copy it. Copy link address. And then WhatsApp group. Let me just test it again. Yes, it will. Oh, thank you. Soma immediately. Love it. Done. Thanks. Thanks, Cody. All right, guys, that's it for today. Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening. Thank you for the class. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you, Christian. I will definitely do. And it's a Monday night. Oh, I'm about to rest. I want to rest for the rest of the evening. Okay, guys. Thank you. Cheers.